Greetings, folks, and welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Coco Smooth, the Casual Collector, and in this segment of Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, I am showcasing the Masterverse New Eternia Mer-Man. I gotta tell you guys, I was really looking forward to this because Mer-Man was one of my most favorite characters to see in an 8-back between him and Beastman. I always thought that they had like the best. Well, at the time I think it was 6-back, but the best of the box art characters. And look at the art on this bad boy right here. It just looks so gosh dang good. And you got Manny Faces picking up Beast Man, ready to toss him. Yeah, and he's got that 8-back look, the eyes, you know. I'm glad they went this direction because this becomes very close to looking the way, what he looked like in the original box art back in the day. So yeah, this sucker is a win. I'm at least as far as aesthetic goes, right? So let's see what they said. Merman, ocean warlord, with new Eternia shattered into thousands of islands, Merman terrorizes everyone foolish enough to travel in the oceans in search of Castle Grayskull. That Castle Grayskull got blown up. Make up your mind. Is it blown up or not blown up? And the chunks were in web stores. What? Help me out here. Right? Anywho, yeah. This was one of the ones other than web store that were going for way more than the MSRP because he's so popular. And I was late to the game. I mean, I seen him and I regret not picking him up before because I just thought that these things would somehow just still be more common. But boy, was I wrong. All it takes is a year. These things are not so common no more. Not so common enough that eBay prices start to reflect it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, my dumb buns should have, gotten this much sooner. It's all right. I'm just glad that I finally on the wave and got it out of the way before I ended up picking up the rest of the stuff started to get more expensive in general, right? I don't know. You really can't predict the market. I don't know. Maybe this will be cheaper in the future. Maybe they'll reissue. Who knows, right? All I know is that your boy Coco is not in his 20s or 30s anymore. And yeah, I don't know how much time I have left to enjoy the things that I want to enjoy. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, YOLO. You know what I mean? And here he is outside of the package with his elote sword right here. I was missing is the tahine and the butter. But yeah, this thing looks pretty dope. I love it. And I like that this thing can go back here. Normally his OG sword goes straight, like a real corn, like a real elotes, but get the curved elotes here. Curved coral blade. Yeah, this is cool. I love his color scheme. Very aquatic type. And I love that his eyes have these kind of like glassy kind of way about them. I like it. It's very my favorite part about him. Jeez, these ankle rockers blew. I mean, the heels can go up and but you gotta be careful. See, I gotta heat them joints up because these joints, from my understanding, good news is I watched one review of somebody else. He said that some of his problems, he actually broke a couple of his Masters figures because of the joints. It was too stiff and he pushed and forced the issue. All right, and here's what it comes with. His spear. I'm okay with this versus a trident, but I figured that he'd have something more of a coral bone like thing like his sword, but guess not. I guess they decided to go metal instead of his OG trident. Well, to be fair, I don't even think he had a trident in the classics. Well, not classic. In the classic, yes, but not in the original vintage line. And he's got his webbed hands to swim. Doggy paddle. But yeah. All right, let me go warm up them joints real quick. All right, so I heated up them joints, right? Yeah, you got to be very careful with them heels. I got to tell you that much. The heels, be very, very careful. It was very stiff. But yeah, I was inspired to. I watched this other guy's video on this, and I was inspired. I forgot his name. I want to give him shout outs, but uh, I'll get it once I get it. I'll have it on the description or in the below. Because, dude, when I saw what he has been doing, what he did, it made me rethink and reevaluate the way I approach any and all kinds of reviewing to begin with. Um, See, my what I was trying to do is do things based on casual takes on stuff, right? Not trying to be a serious reviewer, hence the casual collector. Just trying to explain my takes to go with this because I don't claim to be a toy expert by any means, just some dude who bought stuff and is real happy that he got it, right? And sometimes I'm happy, sometimes I'm not, right? Depending on because I'm opening it just like y'all, like trying to show y'all sometimes I open it and I find out that I wasn't actually happy with it after all or something, right? Like it's all live, well, not live, but raw reaction right then and there, not pre-scripted or nothing. You see me open it, right? But then I was like, okay, well, I feel like I might be doing people a disservice. They probably want to be more, better informed on things. I wasn't thinking about it from that because I figured that everybody else would just watch could watch a real reviewer's video and just be entertained by my Gen X takes on things. You know what I'm saying? Not so much for my actual thoughts on joints, since I'm no plastic expert or a joint expert or a toy maker or nothing like that. All I know is that when I'm sucking at something, that I suck at it, or if something does suck, it sucks, right? Um, so one of the things that I've noticed about Merman in general, and a lot of the Masters of the Universe figures that I've been messing around with, is that uh, it's hard to stand them sometimes because I don't know if their center of gravity is there's something up with it. I couldn't tell you, right? I just know that sometimes it just don't work out, and sometimes the hands are terrible. Like by terrible as it looks like it should be holding things, but then it don't look like it holds things the way it should be held. Like you know what I mean? I don't know if the weapon was built too thick for the hands or whatnot. I'm not sure. Sometimes it feels like it disagrees, like it doesn't belong. But yeah, uh, see, it doesn't look like it can maintain a full grip. So aesthetically speaking, you're kind of forced to angle it in a manner that it hides the way it's being held. You know what I'm saying? And another thing that I've noticed about just Masters of the Universe in general, that their heads going, looking up and around can be troublesome depending on the fig. And for the most part, I think they just have really not so good up and down. It's just a ball joint, right? But yeah, they engineer things so that it makes it kind of hard for it to look up or properly. Like Trapjaw was probably one of the things that I had the hardest time trying to get him to look a certain way, but couldn't because the limitations were just so much for his head movement. It was very kind of annoying. Like here, I want to be able to do a certain thing, but he can't because his neck won't allow him to go much further. We need to send him to Dr. Tubio to crack his neck for us. What I'm saying? He's going to go a chiropractor so we can get his neck to properly behave. You know what I mean? And yeah, these ankle rockers blow, bro. I'm trying so hard to get this sucker to stand in a manner that makes him look like he's about to do some, island boy stuff. But yeah, yeah, yeah. Just yeah. The good news is he does have joints that the double joints on the knees, ankles, it's the swivels where they need to be. You know what I mean? Uh, I I kind of agree that I think they should have given this a more yellow thing, and his greaves to be more yellow too. But you can't always get what you want. You know, and this makes more sense than a loincloth or a hairy loincloth for a submariner character. You know what I mean? So yeah, I love the way this sucker looks. Now I kind of wish that I got new Eternia Skeletor, but from my understanding, this guy towers over him. So it almost it feels like it's kind of more appropriate to have vintage Skeletor, hang out with him because of height. Because look at him, even in a wider A stance, he looks like he's gonna be taller than our boy Skeletor, Skelly, right? He's a little bit, just ever so slightly taller, I would say, but he feels like he would tower. Yeah, yeah. I don't know what it is. He just Merman just seems, yeah. Look, his knee with his knees down and his not really bent all the way. He's got to be a little bit taller. You know what I mean? Yeah, I can't wait for the new Eternia Beastman to come in so that we can compare and contrast just how the looks aesthetic wise. And I mean by the new 2.0 version of Beastman, not the giant behemoth of the one that I have. That one's okay. Can recommend because he's trying to do Van Damme splits on his own. But Merman, I think would, yeah, he looks like he might tower over Webstore just a little bit, a little taller. Webstore being more of the shorter guy. I mean, you can't really tell from the angle there, but yeah, you see what I'm saying? Ever so, I don't know. You just got to see it in real life. You can tell who's a little taller and stuff. There's not. It's just something that the camera cannot seem to, or convey. It's either that or I just have really bad uh, perception. You know what I'm saying? Well, yeah. Uh, I like this overall look. I wish that they had the option for the straightened blade too. This kind of material is kind of on the weird, too gummy side, but I'm gonna trust that they knew what they were doing when they did this. Uh, yeah. So now it looks like his hands can barely hold this bad boy, which is kind of a little bit of disappointing. I needed to maintain his grip properly. So you're probably frustrated with it, depending on what kind of collector you are. But the good news for somebody like me, I'm probably just gonna have them in the shelf standing, really stoic and pose in a manner that's just like, wow, Merman's pretty dope. And I pray that his sword doesn't fall off of his hands because of the way, I don't know, they probably just made it, I don't know, just weird. Anywho, not a proper grip. All right, folks. Well, that is all. Final thoughts on this thing. This thing looks glorious. It looks great. I probably one of the prettiest. Like if I had to put like prettiest, prettiest, these two are up there, and I'd even say, you know, trap jaw in a manner of speaking. Just all the things that are going on with him, and Cyclone for the paint job and the overall aesthetics. I'm probably going to think that as soon as I get Ninjor, I'll probably put him up there too as, you know, uh, dazzling you know, as far as aesthetics is concerned. I also love the way Faker, there's just something about Magenta Faker that just, I'd say he just pops, that pop, you know. Um, Mechanic being my absolute best combination of vintage and spirit of things as my one of my favorite aesthetically. Now it's like, yeah, these guys are the tie of who I like, just on, you know, awesome colors and figures and overall look in general, you know. And Merman, look at him, he means business. He's got that nice svelte look. He doesn't have to have, he has more of a swimmer body than he does a buff work, uh bodybuilder body. All right, folks. Well, that is all I got for this segment of Masters of the Universe, the uh, Masterverse New Eternia Mer-Man edition. I am your host, Coco Smooth, the Casual Collector. And until the next video, folks,